大家好，恭喜發財，祝大家新年快樂，身體健康，萬事勝意，心想事成，大吉大利。Happy New Year, everybody. Today I'm making prosperity cake. In Chinese New Year celebration, a lot of the food that we use and eat have a lot of symbolic meanings. So we call this prosperity cake because when the cake is cooked, it goes from a batter and it bursts like a flower, signifying growth and prosperity. So here are the ingredients. 3 mandarins, Satsuma, Clementines, whichever you prefer, they're all kind of pretty much the same. 250 grams of water, 150 grams of sugar, 200 grams of flour, teaspoon of yeast, and 200 grams of water. And then 100 grams of self-rising flour and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, to start, we're going to put the Satsumas with the water, 250, into the pot, and we're just going to simmer it until it becomes soft. Okay, while that's doing that, we will mix the plain flour, not the self-rising flour, the plain flour with the yeast and another 200 grams of water, or 200 milliliters if you want to do that. Okay, so basically you mix to a kind of thickish batter. Mix it quite well, make sure you get all the flour. Okay, now I just put a little mark on it just to sort of remind me where the dough is. So you're going to put that aside and let it rise until it becomes double. Okay, put an empty bowl on your scale. Okay, set it to 0. Add your sugar, add the puree, and then add enough of the cooking liquid to make up to 350. We've got about 330 at the moment. Okay, so 350. Stir to dissolve the sugar. Make sure that it is dissolved before you use it. At this stage, it's still quite warm. So you need to just let it cool down a little bit. Alright, you can see the dough has risen, double, sort of more or less. Right? So now what we're going to do is baking soda, self-rising flour, you're going to add them together and give it a good mix. And then sift it onto the okay, now add the puree. Make sure that it's cooled down and not like boiling hot. And then mix the two together. So can you see that the puree and the mixture hasn't mixed together? So we don't want that. We want it to all be one mix. And you shouldn't be able to see like white strands of the other dough, the first dough. Okay? Now, while we are filling up the cups, I have the steamer that I've prepared. It's just a wok with a little steaming tray on top. You need it to be like boiling quite hard. Oh, what's happening here? If you don't really need this, you can use a pot and an ordinary steamer. As long as your cakes can fit in there, it should be fine. So I'm using these little cups because they're about the right size. You can just use ordinary cupcake tins. If you want to use liners, you can use liners. And I'm just greasing it a little bit so that it doesn't stick to the dough. The mixture, the cake, I mean, when it's done. And so basically we're just going to fill this quite full. Oh, that's a little bit too full. So it should make about 6. Sometimes it's a bit more depending on the size of your satsumas. So make sure that the water is boiling before you add it in. Okay, once it's boiled, turn it down so you don't burn yourself. And then, oops, sorry. Put the cakes in. Okay, now this needs to cook at very high heat. So this is as high as my stove will go, and it needs to cook for 20 minutes. When that's done, once the 20 minutes is up, you're going to turn the fire off and then let it sit for 10 minutes. Don't open it straight away. Just let it sit and acclimatize itself. So don't open it straight away. It might collapse if you do. Okay, so after 10 minutes, just sitting time, resting time, let's have a look. If it doesn't rise, it means we have no prosperity. So we have to rise. Woo! That means we have a lot of good luck this year and a lot of good growth.